Hey guys, it's Q&A Tuesday. So I know what you're thinking. Roman, what'd you do with your hair? Well, I'm not Roman. I'm Ian. I'm the producer, editor, cutter of all these wonderful Q&As, over 100 episodes of What's on My Desk, and now 100 episodes of Q&A Tuesday. We're talking at least 500 questions answered, maybe, from you guys. Thank you. You kept me in a job. So I figure after almost 200 episodes, I deserve a little airtime. Just a little bit, just to get a couple things off my chest. And I feel like I deserve to ask a question. So the last time you guys saw me was on the 50th episode of What's on My Desk, where I showed the blooper reel of the first 50 episodes of What's on My Desk. And now, because we have 100 episodes of Q&A, you guessed it, I compiled another list of bloopers. So Roman, for this Q&A Tuesday, I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, which blooper is your favorite? And number 2, will I still get to keep my job after this? Anyway, Roman and guys, enjoy.
The Cartier Pasha is Ian, you're gonna love this episode. Anyway, to get everything out of an education. And I'm gonna fuck with this. I'm gonna put this back. Why is this my light on? What is this? Other watch? How many did they make? I can't see shit. Hold on a second. What the heck? I can't see shit. Luis, plug in the people. Don't. States it back to what? Who the f knows? The reason I bought this particular watch is because of the dial. This is not a sub. Is it a sub or is this a GMT? I almost wish they made this a limited edition. This is limited edition. Limited edition, 500 pieces. NSYNC performed a concert to benefit that particular charity. No, that's not it. That's something. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Can I help you? What's up? Yes? Arthur, how you doing? Yeah. What's up? Open. Tot up. All right, get out.
You recording?
Yes. What do you think I'm?
By yourself?
You think I'm just sitting there talking to myself? Kidding. And one more I will mention on that. Actually, no, I'm not going to mention shit on that. Never mind. No, I should forget this one. This one sucks. Never mind. I can't believe it. It's ridiculous. This is bullshit. I don't want to read this. Scratch this whole thing. This is dumb. Which one am I spinning? I forgot. This one. Wow, Ian. Well, I guess, first of all, I should answer your questions. Question number 1, which was my favorite blooper? I'd probably have to go with the limited edition blooper. That was so funny. I ended up laughing myself after the fact. Number 2, do you still get to keep your job? The jury's still out. I'm not the guy that gets easily offended, but that blooper reel was definitely something else. Of course, I'm only joking. Ian will get to keep his job, and I do want to take this moment to give a shout out to Ian. It has been, we were just talking, it has been just between What's on My Desk and Q&A, where it's a little over 200 episodes that we filmed. And if you put in all the vlogs, all the travel videos and everything else, we're probably nearing 300 videos on YouTube so far. So a big shout out to Ian. I know you guys always show him a lot of love on a lot of these videos. I see it in your comments. He sees it in your comments. He definitely appreciates it. I couldn't have done this without him. And you guys know I'm not just saying that because Ian will see this in the video as he edits this video. Plus, he's standing right there. What's up, Ian? Oh, is that Inception? as I say these things. But in either case, thank you guys, obviously, for sticking around. You made Q&A happen. When I had the idea in the very beginning of my channel, when I had maybe 1,000 subscribers, I guess, to start a Q&A, because I saw some questions popping up in the comments, I didn't think I was going to get such an overwhelming response. Now, this ended up in hundreds of emails, and again, I don't get to everyone's questions. I try to do my best to pick questions that a lot of different people have asked. But nevertheless, you guys are the ones that make this happen. And I'm going to say, let's keep going. Let's do another 100. I love answering your questions. Q&A Tuesdays is something you guys all look forward to. I always tell you guys how it is. I don't beat around the bush, and I tell you the information straightforward. And I like to think, and based on your comments and positive reactions, that this is definitely a help in the zoo of a world we call the watch world. So guys, this is a Q&A Tuesday. Before I get into some questions, I don't know if you guys noticed what Ian was wearing. Ian was wearing a Richard Mille. This happened to be on my desk, and he said, hey, let me throw this on. So Ian, while taping that wonderful intro, was wearing this TPT or RM11 Red Quartz, as they call it. Beautiful watch, by the way. Love that. Well, needless to say, some of the perks of this job is that not just myself, but even some of my employees, when they want to wear a cool watch, they get to wear a cool watch, and I certainly don't mind. So that's one of the perks that Ian loves most about his job, actually. So let's jump into some questions, and I'm going to give a shout out to a gentleman by the name of Peter Story. I mentioned in one of my last Q&As that I'm going to get to his stuff. A lot of you guys are sending me stuff via mail, which I don't mind. I do mind those that are strictly doing it for a shout out. I've told you guys before, feel free to send me anything and everything that's related to the watch and jewelry business. And if I like your story and how your company has come up, I will certainly air it, give you guys a shout out or a boost in sales should this help and people get out there and buy your product. Last time I did this, I think I showed you guys the watch stand. I love the story. I love the way how the guys started their company out of their basements, much just like me. And this brings me to Peter's Story, who sent me a watch jewelry board. Let me just grab that. So, looks like a block of wood. I don't know if I got the pronunciation right, but this is called PUG II PUG, a PUG PUG. It's called PUG II PUG. Lisa and Pete, husband and wife, obviously. Thank you so much for looking at the reclaimed oak watch jewelry board, an ideal storage space for small items, your iPhone, was to sleep, in the shower, etc. We'll also do lots of other furniture items, all available to see via social media platforms below. Ian, if you can throw up their Instagram, which is pug_ii_pug. Their website is pugiipug.net. Guys, check that out. Show them some love, obviously. It's lovely to think that a piece of Sheffield is traveling all the way to America. Would love your feedback. If any of your followers would like one, we're happy to discount 40 British pounds, retail price by 10% with the code Romanio. Oh, postage is free in UK only. Look, I got my own discount code, Romanio, ROMANIO. Check that guys out. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever had my own discount code. I feel special now. So, and then note that the product you have bought is natural living timber. Just like nature itself, wood varies in shape and color. Knots, veins, patterns, resin pockets, and color difference contribute to giving the piece of furniture its beauty and form a natural part of solid wood. Although the wood has been cut, dried, it is still alive and therefore will react to high and low temperatures like humidity, drought, and time. In cold and dry periods, the wood contracts, which may lead to small cracks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it talks about the fact that this is made from a natural piece of wood. So let me show you this thing. Now, you guys somewhat see the setup in my office where I actually have furniture made from reclaimed wood. Now, it wasn't made for these guys because they're in UK, and I'll show you the top of my desk, and then you can also see some of the other furniture, and that stuff is all made out of reclaimed wood. So I love this kind of stuff. It actually personally sings to me, which is why I like this particular product. Now, initial glance, a very raw stand. You have to be into this kind of stuff, reclaimed furniture, natural wood furniture, in order to put this on your stand. It's a far cry from the watch stand, which I showed earlier. In fact, it's night and day. This is very natural. In the US, would probably call this a bit country, but nevertheless, it's really, really well made. You can tell that it's handmade. You can tell from the marks in these grooves and everything else. What is this? This is one of the brochures that they sent along with this. Bespoke reclaimed furniture. There's some really cool stuff on here, actually. This I love. this tabletop. This kind of stuff actually sinks to me because I do like this type of furniture. And there's something about having a handmade product, not something that's mass produced, but something that's going to be always unique in its own way that sinks to me, and it's not just something that's mass produced. And the best part about this is this guy's main business is furniture. And the reason he decided to make the stand is because he has a passion for watches. So Peter is a watch nut. And he said, what better way to show that than through my craft? And the craft is furniture making. And this is obviously a far cry from furniture, but nevertheless, it's funny how watches affect different people and even businesses and even product lines based on someone's passions. For somebody who's been making furniture all of his life, I finally decided to make a watch and jewelry board, such as this. Last but not least, as I was reading the letter, Peter and Lisa write, it's lovely to think that a piece of Sheffield is traveling all the way to America. And Sheffield is the town where they live in, which is a city in South Yorkshire in England, and is also home to their soccer team, Sheffield United, aka the Blades. Peter, obviously an avid soccer fan, mentioned that as well, so I felt it was worth putting on. Let's look at the product real quick. I'm gonna take a richer meal, and basically, it's that simple. You have a knob onto which you feed your watch, and that's really it. It's a simple product, and its material is a simple product in its use. I'm assuming the groove here also allows you, let's say if you're wearing a Rolex like I am today, which is a single red, it allows you to put that in there as well. And I would think that this also allows you to put your rings, your jewelry, and things of that nature. This groove would probably work for your iPhone, and you just kind of pop your iPhone in here like this. You guys can see that as well. Again, in reality, it isn't a fancy product. Unlike the watch stand, for example, that was specifically made to hold on watches and took a lot of things into consideration. This is just a cool accessory to have by your nightstand if this is your style type furniture. So Peter, thank you very much for sending this in. I will use this around my office because it certainly matches the decor in my office. I appreciate you sending this thing in. Guys, I've told you before, I've had multiple offers of plug-in products onto my channel. I don't do that. This was just a cool story, very, very personal, and I felt it was worthwhile putting it out there. Of course, the purpose is for me to give the shout out. I am blatantly giving out a shout out to this gentleman, so I encourage you to visit his Instagram, visit his website, perhaps order some products. I love a story like this, a family business, a cool product based on Peter's passion for watches. Let's answer some questions now. I'm sure this episode will run a bit longer because of the bloopers, but I still do want to get to at least a couple of questions because, again, you guys know I have a backlog. I'm going to take on another challenge, and I told you guys before, when you guys send me these emails and the subject line says challenge, I tend not to read them so that when I get to them, I can try to answer them off the top of my head. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair to prepare for these questions. So this challenge comes from Lasindu Hasnitha. I apologize if I mangled your name. Hi Roman, how are you? Hope you and your loved ones are doing well. I wanted to give you a small challenge rather than asking a question. The challenge is, Ian, drum roll please. Name one watch brand from each letter in the alphabet. Brands doesn't have to be luxury brands. Good luck and thanks so much for your service to the watch community. Love your content, keep up the good work. I never looked at that as, I never looked at this that way, as a service to the watch community. Am I providing a service to the watch community? If that's the case, I feel pretty good about it. If you guys, some of you guys feel that I'm actually providing a service. Okay, so letters of the alphabet. A, pretty obvious, Audemars Piguet. B, Beauvais. C, Cartier. D, Damiani. Damiani is a jewelry brand, but they also make watches, or of course we could go with DeWitt. E, Eberhard. A, B, C, D, E. F. F would be... No, that's not a watch brand. Frederic Constant. There we go. G, Gerard Perregaux. H, H. Moser. I, Invicta. Yay, that's a watch brand. I, J, Jacques Droz. Oyega Lecoultre. K, Konstantin Chaikin. L. What do we have with L? L. Lacroix? Well, that starts with an M technically. Maurice Lacroix. L. Louboutin? No, that's a shoe. Longines. M. Maurice Lacroix. N. Nixon. Nixon is a watch brand made by Adidas. I know this because we sell them. O. Officine Panerai. P. Parmigiani. Q. Have no idea. I don't know of a watch brand that starts with the letter Q. I just remember the scene from White Man Can't Jump. Foods that start with the letter Q. Remember that one?
Foods that start with the letter Q.
Name 7 foods that start with Q.
Champion always.
So I'm going to skip over Q. R, I'm going to go with Rolex. Pretty obvious one. S, I'm going to go with, I don't know a brand that starts with the letter S. S. Nothing pops into my head for S. Swiss made. It's Swiss Alpha, I think, or Swiss. There was a brand that was actually created by the guys that owned the watchery.com back in the day. It was called Swiss Alpha or Swiss something or other. I'm pretty sure there's a name brand out there that starts with the word Swiss, so hope you guys give me a break on that one. T, Tag Heuer. U, U-boat. V, Vacheron Constantine. I'm terrible at the alphabet. U, V, W. So W, Walter, Waldom, W-A-L-T-H-A-M, Waldom, pocket watches mostly. X, no watches on X, 0 there. Maybe in the future we'll have those X-ray watches. Why I can't think of a watch with Y. Why not? Why? Now, drawing a blank on a Y, skip Y. And Z, you have Zenith, which is pretty easy. So I hope I kind of met this challenge. You know, as I read this off, I was like, oh, that's easy, but certainly a couple of letters out there I missed out on. If you guys have suggestions on the letters that I missed out, feel free to list them below. But here's a challenge back for you. In the comments, put brands A through Z without mentioning the ones that I mentioned, because there's quite a few brands out there with the same letters. So here's a challenge back to you, and I appreciate the challenge here. Love those. Again, remember, if you guys are going to send a challenge, put new challenge in the subject line so that I don't read the message, and I'll just read it live as I'm taping. I think it comes out better that way. Here's a good one from Michael Froyland, whose question I have answered before about trips and stuff. Hey Roman, since you like traveling, have you ever been to Kazakhstan? Rather interesting country and people. The luxury market is growing, and there's a Ritz-Carlton hotels and residences in Astana and Almaty, which actually pronounced Almata. Alma-Ata is what it's pronounced. Thought it could be a fun trip for you, and many over there speak Russian, which helps. Some have an almost crazy taste for luxury in the former USSR countries. You might find more Rams and Paddocks there than in New Jersey. I really like that red Daytona you showed a recent video. I'm not really known as a Daytona fan. My biggest favorite is the Leopard model. I pop that one on there. I call it the Pimp Daytona. If I can one day afford it, I will wear it with much joy. Thanks for many good informative videos. We are many fans who enjoy them. The way you and your team do it seems to work just fine. Thank you. If you ever come to Finland, I hope to meet you. Finland is one of those places that's on my list to visit. I do want to visit the Baltic countries, as they call them, or ex-Viking country. You guys know I love history, and there's a lot of Viking history up that way. I would love to have a theme trip based on that sometime in the future. But to talk about Kazakhstan, you are absolutely right.
Yakshimash, my name is Borat. This is my country of Kazakhstan. It's nice.
Even prior to Soviet Union sort of putting a dark cloud over all of these countries that are now countries on their own and putting them all together into USSR, Kazakhstan has always been a rich land, a beautiful land, obviously because of the climate. And now that that dark blanket of USSR has been lifted 30 years ago, Kazakhstan is back and is thriving. I do business in Kazakhstan. We mainly sell jewelry wholesale to there, some watches, and we do some of the buying over there. Absolutely correct. Kazakhstan, along with Azerbaijan, which is Baku, with Baku being the main city, a lot of these countries, a lot of these are being dubbed as the next Dubai, because they are in the Middle East technically. You're absolutely correct. A lot of people there still speak Russian, but it's usually the older generation, my generations. Pretty much anybody over 40 there will speak Russians. Anybody under 30 is already having a tough time in Russian because it's not made to be learned in school like it was during the USSR times. You were made to learn that language, right? Russian, per se. And you're right, you will find more Paddocks and Rams there than in New Jersey, and simply because you have to understand something, that you have a lot of new, and not just in Kazakhstan, but pretty much anywhere over Russia, you have a wave of new millionaires, new billionaires, new people that have finally made money. Once this dark cloud of communism was lifted from the people of all these republics, ex-countries in some case, like Kazakhstan or Azerbaijan or any of the other Russian republics that were sort of unified under one country. Those that made a success of themselves, they were hungry to spend, because this isn't something that you could do during the Soviet time. You couldn't show wealth, right? Free enterprise was illegal, so you had to actually hide. If you were making money on the side somewhere, hustling, you couldn't show that money. Otherwise, they would come and get you and send you to the gulag in Siberia somewhere, right? So there's a lot of hunger that comes with what we call new money, not just there, anywhere. For the most part, when people come into wealth and it's new money, it's not something they've inherited, they also tend to lose their shit and start spending a lot of money. And that's the case in Kazakhstan and many other ex-Soviet republics. So it's nothing new to me. I've taken advantage of that, and by advantage, I don't mean in a bad way. I've taken advantage of it in a way where the market there was booming, so I would sell to dealers from those various areas, because wherever there's new money, there's a lot of new spending. And being conservative and modest is usually not on the plate, if you know what I'm saying. I'm going to take one more and get out of here from Steven Tavitas. Dear Roman, I was wondering, how do you transport the merchandise in and out of various countries? Can you give us the logistics side of what it takes to accomplish this? Is there import fees, taxes, and other charges to transfer the items when passing through other countries' borders? Thanks for keeping us entertained in these current times. I'm sending prayers and good vibes to everyone out there. Steve T. So Steve, when you're traveling through certain countries, there's nothing going on. It's really when you go from one country to another. And depending on the countries, obviously different taxes, different rules, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When we go to trade shows, for example, to Hong Kong is a duty-free zone, but we still have to declare everything that goes in and goes out. When it starts coming back into the United States, you have to declare what's actually coming back. When we're shipping from overseas, we have to declare stuff coming in and pay duties. But I've talked to you guys about duties before. United States of America, duties aren't a whole lot. So for all you guys thinking about smuggling a watch from overseas for $10,000, in reality, all you're going to be saving is $200, $300, $400 in order to do so. And as far as logistics, I have an entire logistics department. I have Ellen, who's in charge of logistics. She has a few guys and girls that work for her. She's the one that usually prepares all the export paperwork. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, especially think about sending out 5,000 pieces of jewelry to a trade show, right? Every single piece of jewelry has to be listed out, what it is, with a picture, with the description, how much it weighs, how much diamonds, blah, blah, blah. Like literally every single piece. And that report ends up being about this thick. Of course, we have it all automated. We have a program that does it for us, that pulls everything from inventory. We scan stuff in. Once it scans in, it spits out that report automatically. But there's no charges for passing through other countries. The only way there are any charges in any given country is that those items actually land there. And a lot of countries have what's called temporary import, even those that have duties. With Hong Kong being a duty-free zone, that's one thing. But let's say Singapore, if we do a trade show in Singapore, right, and let's say we get out there with $10 million worth of merchandise, this is what we declare going in. Whatever we declare going out, let's say I brought 10 million, sold 2 million, I have to pay their 10% GST on whatever it is I sold. So if I sold off $2 million, I have to write their government a check for $200,000. Of course, if we're selling there, I certainly will take that into account and charge the people that are buying the stuff that markup in order not to lose 10%, or maybe meet them somewhere in between to ensure that I'm still making money. So that's what's called a temporary import. But if I'm just flying into any given country, if I'm just flying into Singapore and I'm hand delivering a watch to a client, upon entry, I have to declare that watch, I have to pay the duties, which is, I think, let's say in case of Singapore, it's 10%. In Europe, it's anywhere from 19% to 22.5%, depending on where I am. And that's the only right way to do it. Of course, I don't physically do that. I never travel with valuable goods for safety reasons. So oftentimes, this will be done via some sort of armored carrier service, depending on the value, or simply FedEx, UPS, DHL, TNT, and many other shipping services that are out there. What I will tell you, and the reason I decided to talk about this again, because I have been asked this questions before, is a lot of you guys, I'll tell you one thing to a lot of you guys, it's not worth it. Don't try to smuggle watches in and out of countries. It's only going to take one time for you to get stopped. Nobody's going to do anything to you. Some countries will simply confiscate the item, right? And they'll take you forever. They won't keep it. It'll take you forever to get it out. You're going to end up paying fees, probably more than on the value of what you paid for the watch. They won't take into consideration that you may have bought a watch at 40% off retail. They'll probably charge you taxes on the full retail. Take into consideration that if you're going to buy a watch elsewhere and bring it back to your own country that has taxes, either buy locally from a dealer that has already paid the tax so you're not liable. You know, especially in the United States, I told you guys before, it's so cheap to import stuff into the United States. It is not worth it. And the last thing you want to do is have a stamp or a flag somewhere in U.S. Customs that you were once stopped trying to smuggle in a watch and didn't want to pay a couple of $100 duty, because then every time you go through Customs, you're going to get stopped because there's going to be a flag on you, and you're going to have to wait in another line, which is going to greatly delay your travel, and it's going to be a pain in the neck because they're going to check your stuff every single time that you come through. So not worth it. Pay your duties, pay your taxes. It's not that big a deal. Take that into account when you're buying certain things, and if the deal makes sense, do it and do it properly. Hope that answers your question. And I'm gonna get out of here because this episode I'm sure is running long already. Once again, guys, thank you. 100 episodes, big deal. I've stuck to my commitment to putting out 2 videos every single week, where it's Q&A Tuesday and it's a What's on My Desk Thursday. Sometimes I replace those with some of the vlogs and so on, because we feel like putting out more than 2 videos a week is a bit much. I don't want you guys getting tired of me, and I hope you're not tired of me. And I hope we do another 100 Q&A Tuesday episodes, and I hope you guys continue making this possible by asking me these questions. Remember, I changed it up now. You email your questions to romansharf@luxurybazaar.com. I thank you as usual. Hit the like button, comment below, tell me what you thought of the bloopers of this episode overall. And as always, I always ask that you share this episode with your friends, because this is what helps my channel grow organically. Other than that, I'll see you guys next Tuesday.